One of the best pieces of advice I've ever read about relationships is this. A man calling you baby means nothing. A man moving into your house means nothing. A man calling you his girlfriend means nothing. A man marrying you means nothing. Do you know what means something? A man changing his ways to keep you. That's what means something.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, I bring you the story of a woman who, by involving her single friends in her relationship, ended up ruining her engagement. Her true colors came out, and it didn't take long for her fiancé to see the disaster in front of him. In the end, he decided it was better to avoid the trouble. And boy, did he dodge a bullet. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Add a little love to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask of you, brother. Share your experiences in the comments to help guide other men. Without further ado, let's get started.
If you need therapy, which you do, we all do, okay, let's just get that out of the way. I have a hack for you that is going to change your life, and in my opinion, has at times been even more healing to me than therapy is. It's easy, it's accessible, it's fucking free. Okay, open up your phone's front camera, set it up, prop it up on something, and just start fucking talking to yourself. You are going to feel crazy at first. There's a learning curve to this, okay? Just know that if you feel crazy, that's normal. It's okay. But something about looking yourself in the eyes and talking through your problems or your insecurities or even like the ways that you're mean to yourself or self-sabotaging, you have this new level of compassion for yourself. It has been so healing to me and has been the source of some of my greatest breakthroughs. So 10 out of 10, I recommend.
This seems more like advice for people who are so narcissistic they would record themselves just to feel like they're talking to themselves. It's like talking alone, but more modern. Though in my day, if you saw someone talking to themselves, we'd call them crazy. But nowadays, if you're normal, they call you old-fashioned, and if you seem crazy, they call you modern. That's the way things are now. And then there are women who now share all their problems on TikTok for a bunch of strangers who don't even care to find out about their lives. If that doesn't seem strange to you, I don't know what will.
Hello, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you here. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut If I Break Up With My Fiancé After She Showed a Startling Change of Behavior After Getting Engaged? I, male 32, just recently proposed to my girlfriend of 2 years, Sharon, female 30, like a month and a half ago. And it feels like the second the ring got on her finger, her attitude and behavior took a total 180. The entire time we were dating, we seemed exceptionally compatible. At least it seemed we shared common beliefs and morals. 7 weeks ago, I proposed and she said yes, and I felt like it was the happiest moment for the two of us. But not even a week later, it's like her attitude totally flipped. I thought I knew all of her friends, but one day I came home and there were 6 women I've never seen before, and Sharon introduced me to them. I was curious as to why I was just now meeting them when I already met Sharon's 2 best friends, Michelle and Octavia, both not present. Over a year and a half ago, Sharon said she wanted to make sure that we were a sure thing before I met her inner circle. When getting engaged means you're a sure thing. I found this strange, not to mention it was a weeknight, and they were quickly draining my wine rack. Sharon still had her own place, but she stayed with me so often she practically lives here. Still, I found it incredibly rude when they left with 4 empty bottles of rosé in their wake. I tried to talk to Sharon about having uninvited guests on weeknights, and she dismissed my grievance very flippantly. More, that she brushed me off. The following week, she went out with the girls several times, and when she brought the girls to my place, twice without notice, once with notice to appease me, her words, they all treated me like a butler, shaking their empty wine glasses at me for refills. Time out, because look, if you brought the girlies home and I was available, I'd butler for you because I love you and that's what I would want to do. But if some bitch starts shaking an empty wine glass at me, get out! Out! No, leave the glass. Put the bottle down, put the glass down, and get the out. More wine.
Oh, hell no!
Completely agree. I've been telling her to leave my house for a while now. Plus, it's such a lack of respect from this woman. If you don't live with me, why are you bringing your friends to my place to throw a party when you have your own home? And who's going to clean up the mess these women are going to leave behind? You see where this is going, right? If Sharon thought that putting on the ring gave her the right to turn your house into her party room, it's clear something was wrong from the start. How is it that you're just now meeting her friends? What else has she been hiding?
After the fourth time, I made it clear that I will get a locked wine rack. Sharon just called me no fun after that. It gets worse. Sharon decided that me and the girls got off on the wrong foot and said that we should have dinner together at a nice restaurant. You know that means that she wants you to buy them all a very fancy dinner, right? Well, I went and it was not great. The six kept prodding me about my life, my house, my career, but they deflected every question that I asked. It got especially bad at night when they started talking about modern relationships and jealousy. And one of them brought up some key points about relationships that I thought Sharon and I were on the same page about, specifically what ifs regarding polygamy and being friends with exes. To my shock, Sharon said that we shouldn't be too hasty on such decisions, which was a total 180 to how she expressed herself on these things only a month prior, where she was vehemently against keeping ex-intimate partners and friend circles and was staunchly monogamous. The worst part was when the bill arrived, Sharon announced it should be together and slid me the check. I told her she can't be serious, and we got into a bit of an argument. I ended it by putting my amount down in cash and walked out, leaving them to figure out the rest of the bill. The next days after that, Sharon kept calling me toxic and fragile. But every time I pushed at it, she would give me an apology and promise that she was just stressed at work. It's nuts. We haven't even planned the wedding yet. The worst part was this Monday when at work I got a Nest doorbell alert, checked and saw Sharon and one of her 6 new friends arriving at my place, going in and exiting with my golf clubs. This set was a gift from my father, and it cost a pretty penny too. So Sharon lending it out with my permission got me pissed. I immediately called Sharon and told her and her friend to return the clubs. Sharon tried to gaslight me with, "But you promised to lend the clubs to her boyfriend, remember?" I told her the club's cost would move it into a serious crime, and her friend had an hour to return them or the cops would be called. Sharon kept insisting she got my permission, and I told her to cut the crap. Well, not 45 minutes later, I got another notification of Sharon and her friend coming back with the clubs and going inside, leaving them. Sharon's friend flipping off the Nest doorbell on the way out. I got home and saw Sharon's friend literally just threw the clubs and bag on the living room floor. Sharon tried to talk to me about my toxicity again, and I told her again to cut the crap. I said if I knew this is how she was, I never would have proposed. That seemed to freak her out, and she again insisted that she was just stressed at work, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her to return the ring and her key, and we would talk about our relationship this weekend. She cried, and she begged me not to cancel the engagement and insisted that it was just stress. I told her again that we will talk about it this weekend. She finally relented. I had my house rekeyed anyways after she left just to be safe. Sharon has been texting me constant messages of love and apologies for getting swept up and insisting she was only wanting to show me off to her close friends. Is that what showing you off is like? I don't know. I'm just not buying it. The same close friends have been sending me texts daily calling me toxic and fragile again, saying they knew I wasn't man enough for Sharon or secure enough to share with her friends. Share? A few of my friends that knew Sharon the entire 2 years we were dating were surprised and can't even believe she turned Hyde this quick, and that there must be something missing or that I'm leaving something out. They said I must have said something to trigger her friends to act like this, and I had to have been the asshole somewhere along the process. I don't know. It's a lot to take from all directions right now.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
First, she disrespects you and never takes responsibility for anything. Second, she takes your things without asking for permission, and when you confront her, she gets angry and blames you for being insecure. Third, her friends feel entitled to call you, insult you, and tell you that you're not good enough for her. Fourth, she makes it clear that monogamy isn't for her, and those agreements you both made are now up for debate as if they didn't matter. Fifth, she doesn't value your time or your money, and on top of that, she expects you to pay for dinner for her 6 friends. Brothers, this woman is a giant red flag. With everything I've just said, I would have already kicked her out of my life. This woman wants to live the single life while being in a relationship. She's only going to bring you suffering. Party girls with a group of single friends, where they all give off the impression that they belong to the streets. Why would you think yours would be any different? She's in that group for a reason. I'm sure there's more to this story than we know.
Before we get into the top comment and some additional information here, the friends being like, I don't know, you must have done something to this up. Be like, hey, you, by the way, like you just did something to this up with that assessment, asshole. Yeah, it's got to be your fault, right? They wouldn't just be like this. Now, these friends were always like this. You didn't get introduced to them until after you put a ring on it. And then she somehow took that as, you're my bitch now, and treated you like her bitch in front of her friends because that's what they think is cool. And apparently to be man enough to be with her, you have to be her bitch and be willing to be treated like shit and let her friends do the same and just take shit from you. It's all good. That's being man enough for them. Cool. Top comment. Oh, no, dude. You need to end this relationship. She has been putting on a false front the whole time. She knows how toxic they are. She figured now that you had proposed, you couldn't leave. That's who she really is. The person you dated for 2 years, that's a false front to get the proposal. It's like abusers who never hurt their spouse until after they're married. They know that they need to hide it because they know it will drive the partner away. They wait till the commitment is deep enough. She showed her hand too fast and too early. Agree with that. Kick her ass to the curb immediately. Call her out on every gaslight. Every time she cries and says she's stressed or whatever, ask her why she lies 100% of the time in front of her friends then. If she's telling the truth, they can come over, and in front of her friends, she will for the whole evening disagree with them on polygamy, open relationships, your role, they need to be open, etc., etc. Tell her if she's just stressed, she must be willing now to call them and openly admit all of what she was saying with them was untrue, or this is who she is. She gave you a pleasant fiction when you were alone, and it was easy to hide. Now you see who she chooses to be, who she wants to be. Dump her. Move on. Date Michelle. Date Michelle? Where'd Michelle come from? Oh, one of the OG besties. Yeah. Who, NTA, brother. Am I the astronaut? If you broke up with her after she did this 180, NT freaking A. What do people expect? Yeah. She got too comfy too quick. Too comfy too quick. I'm going to go out on a limb here and also say Sharon has been married before. Sharon's divorced. But she treated her husband like this. This is what ended their marriage. And she was just looking for someone else to take up this role. Take up the same role. And it's not so much of finding the right person. It's finding the person who has the means that she's looking for and is willing to put up with the amount of shit that she wants to give. That's all it takes. You clearly are not that. Also, bravo for you, and I'm actually going to green flag you here, OP, because you actually didn't around. You put up boundaries immediately. You're like, hey, you return those freaking golf clubs or I'm calling the cops. That was a boundary. It had consequences attached, and you were serious about it, and they brought that shit back. It doesn't matter if she threw them. It doesn't matter if she flipped off the camera. That just shows you the kind of people she's friends with. The kind of people she chooses as her inner circle should tell you a lot about who she is. Yeah. I mean, if people change like this, don't stick around. Don't stick around. Don't do it. The problem is that he was 2 years deep into this before he found out who she really was. And I feel like that's a common thing too.
In short, this woman sold you a 30-day free trial. But once you subscribed, you realized the product was trash. Let's be clear. She knew what would happen when you met her group of friends because she's been through this before. These are the kind of women who know that no self-respecting man is going to accept that. They don't want to be wives. They want the ring, the big wedding, but still live like single women. Brother, you were lucky to see her true colors before signing that paper. Because once you did, you would have lived through hell. Sharon thought that with the ring. She had you locked down and could do whatever she wanted. But no, brother. Ending that relationship was the smartest thing you could have done. And the lesson is simple. No matter how long you've been with someone, if they suddenly start showing their true face, you don't have to stick around a minute longer. You can always say this is where it ends. Because if they don't respect you from the start, they're not going to after the engagement, and even less after the wedding. But anyway, let's see how this story ends.
All right, we have an update. Here's the update. 2. Am I the astronaut if I break up with my fiance after she showed a startling change of behavior after getting engaged? Sharon's been gone now for an hour. Breakup is official. I have the ring back. I did talk to Michelle via Facebook, and Michelle said she and Octavia were cousins of Sharon, and Michelle also said that she knew the 6 and didn't care for them. Michelle didn't say much more than that. I did meet Sharon's parents, and they both seemed to like me, and the topic of Michelle and Octavia never came up around them. None of our finances were intermingled yet, but it was planned for later this month, which won't happen. Oh, she pulled this shit before you guys even... Okay. I invited 3 of our mutual friends, Casey, John, and Mike, to be here when Sharon got here. Sharon showed up and was surprised to see that we had company. I said they were here for both of our sakes. Sharon wanted to phone 3 of the 6 to come over to even things out, and I refused, and I used the club theft as a reason. Sharon sat on the couch very dramatically. Wait, hold up. How do you sit on the couch very dramatically? Like a teenager plopping down on the couch? And then asked if I really wanted to make this public. I outright asked why she changed so much after the engagement and why she hid the existence of the 6. Sharon then went in again about how she insulates her inner circle until a partner is vetted. I called BS. I met her parents. What's more inner circle than your parents? Sharon tried to deflect, but I wouldn't have it. I pointed out how for the last month, her friends dropping by cost me nearly $500 in wine, which she, by the way, made no attempt to reimburse. I also pointed out that her trying to make me pay for an 8-person dinner bill without asking me first. She again said that she wanted to show how great of a guy I was and how she clearly misjudged me and was disappointed in my attitude. I then asked about the clubs. She tried gaslighting with, "You totally said it was okay, remember?" And I kept saying, "Bullshit." Mike piped in. He knew the clubs were a gift from my dad, and I was highly protective of them. He too called BS, and that's when Sharon turned her attention to Mike and John, saying, "Isn't he getting forgetful lately? Don't you remember when he forgot that one date?" And neither was buying it. I finally said that forget postponing the wedding or canceling the engagement. The entire relationship is going to end if she isn't going to be straight with me. Sharon made a very long, exaggerated sigh. She took the ring off and dropped it on the coffee table. She got up to leave and said, "You're never going to find somebody as good as me," and to send her stuff to her apartment. She left, and Casey, John, and Mike were totally stunned. All I could say was, "Believe me now?" We ordered pizza and are waiting for it to arrive now. I am still utterly shocked and confused by Sharon's attitude. I'm sure the heartbreak will come next, but right now I'm just kind of numb. Poor dude. Yeah. And you know what? Seeing this, like going through it, I'm sure is just, he's the worst, because she's this and she gets this too. I'll just start pointing to stuff over here that she's the worst. She was intentionally shitty. She gets a ride all the way to ASCON 1. Here's her ticket. There's the trip. We'll witness it here. There we go. Astronaut's traveling to ASCON 1 to drop her ass off there. It's a one-way ticket. There's not many people to take advantage of on ASCON 1 because they're all assholes too. So have fun there. Have fun with your people. Your 6 are probably all there. So I'd love to have some feedback from Candy Thunder here. Let's have her jump on up. Candy Thunder, come on up. Oh my God, it's Candy Thunder. Also rocking the perfect sweatshirt for tonight.
Gotcha, bitch.
As I always tell all the men who watch my videos, make your boundaries clear and what you're not willing to accept in a relationship. This woman is a manipulative narcissist. At first, she manipulates you by pretending to be the perfect girlfriend, but then she shows her true colors. The good thing is that you figured it out before making stupid decisions, like sharing a bank account or, worse, marrying someone like her. Notice how she tried to bring her friends into the conversation. The guy was smart and brought his own friends, because he knows things can get ugly, and in situations like this, it's important to protect yourself. Even her own parents didn't know about those friends. Brother, you dodged not just a bullet, but a missile. This woman was going to be a constant problem, and if she didn't respect you before, she definitely wouldn't after the wedding. Let's see how this story ends.
Yeah. So I think we could say that he got a hole in ASCON 1. No, I've been saving that for like 4 minutes.
But wait, he got a hole in ASCON 1?
That's what I said. I said it and I don't regret it.
I mean, he had one for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then...
I feel like, one, she played her crazy hand way too early. You don't have someone until you're married, and then you don't really have someone. Because
Right.
if you're going to show up and be an asshole, then they obviously get the choice to leave you. And I don't understand women that act like men are beneath them and are there to serve them, because that's exactly how she acted. This woman needs to find new friends. She needs to find 6 new people to be her friends, because these people are bad influences.
Question for you.
Yes.
Is the 6, the 6 kind of seems like they're...
At least got me.
They're like a hive mind. They're it's just like a symbiotic relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so the goal is for one of them to land a guy that they can all take advantage of as a group.
Mm.
And they just kind of take turns snagging a guy. Maybe it takes 2 years to get him to the point where you can drain his wine cellar and get him to pay for an expensive meal for everybody, but everybody kind of takes their turn getting there. Is that what
No.
this is?
I don't know, because I would never treat someone like this. Not in any way, shape, or form. I would never treat another human being like this because it's degrading, it's disgusting, and who wants to, like, you want a relationship with a partner, and he thought he had found that, but really it was false. Everything that she did was to get what she wanted, and that was who we saw in this story. And this happens, this literally happens because we've witnessed it firsthand. It was wild, and it's still wild. And it's honestly very, like, it's shocking, it's confusing. People actually do this, and I think that narcissists in general, like, I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but they have no trouble acting like what they think that person wants, and then when they feel secure in that relationship, to flip that switch and become who they really are and expect someone to take it.
Which is terrible.
Yeah.
Who would choose to be this way, though? That's where I'm confused. Like, if this is who she really is, that's one thing. Also,
I don't know.
You know,
I told the girls last night that popularity in high school means nothing after you graduate.
it's worth nothing.
It means abso-fucking-lutely nothing. And if you still think that your popularity in high school means something, I'm sorry. Grow up. Because it's done. Like, it's over. You walk through, you get your diploma, you're done.
Just ask Uncle Rico. It doesn't matter much after the fact.
Yeah.
Your glory days. It just doesn't.
Even Regina George changed and grew up before she graduated high
True.
school.
I mean, she had to get hit by a bus for it to happen.
It's true.
God,
It seems like a Monty Python
get your own
movie.
tater tots.
I've seen the chapstick.
Seems like Monty Python?
I don't know. It
And you're
seems
saying
like,
that as like a negative thing?
it just seems like the same kind of humor. I'm sorry. I don't know. I've just never seen it.
You make me sad.
I've never had a thing. I've never wanted to go see it.
I just don't understand choosing to be like this. And eventually maybe reality will set in. But
It will set in.
But I mean,
Karma will get her.
What has to happen to get to that point? Do you have to get so hurt by somebody that you just choose not to love ever again, but only take advantage of? Is that what happens? Is that what gets people to this point? That's the part that I don't understand.
As a narcissist?
As a narcissist, or just in this situation specifically, where her goal was only to get a ring on her finger in any form or fashion, and now she knows she played her card too soon, so the next time she'll wait a little bit longer. But does somebody have to get hurt so bad that they just cannot fathom truly loving and letting somebody in to who they truly are or should be? It seems like this is a suit of armor.
Yeah, I for sure. But I think that they do love, and they put themselves above everyone else. So there's no way that a partnership would ever work. They only care about what they believe, and that's what they want, what they need, and nothing else. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get that. Like, she spent 2 years trying to get that. You just played your hand too soon, sweetie. Next time, leave the 6 until the wedding and just let them show up as bridesmaids.
This woman is the classic type who never matures, a narcissist looking for a beta provider to secure a comfortable financial life. She wants a simp to pay for everything and put up with anything. And as I always say, your woman is 50% of the people she surrounds herself with. Many think their partner is the purest of the group, but sometimes you might have the worst one without even realizing it. Sharon's friends probably already had a plan to take advantage of this poor guy. But our brother knew how to set boundaries in time, something many don't do. The speaker nailed it when he said Sharon is the classic narcissist who thought she could manipulate everything as she pleased. But she didn't expect her mask to fall off so quickly. If you see these signs, run. The ring is not a contract to become anyone's slave, especially not for someone who will only bring chaos to your life. And I'm sure that group of friends is the kind that will eventually hit the wall. For any of them to get ahead, they'll have to turn against the group, because, as the old saying goes, a woman's worst enemy is another woman. These friends sabotage any healthy relationship one of them might have, because misery loves company.
I sent a man a picture of me drinking my coffee this morning. He sent me back a video of his dick. So, it's not even 8 a.m.
Welcome to The Wall. Today we're going to talk about how a girl is outraged with Bumble because their new promotion basically suggests she should lower her standards. Can you imagine? A dating app telling you to be less picky. And don't go anywhere, because up next is the story of the day. Our good friend, the classic Chad, goes on a date with not one, but 3 girls at the same time, making it clear that the more, the merrier. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Add a bit of your love to the movement. That's the only support we ask for. Also, don't forget to share your stories and anecdotes in the comments so others can learn from your wisdom. Without further ado, let's get started.
I just had the worst first date of my life. I figure I'm just gonna tell you what happened and then we're gonna try and work our way back from there. My date invited myself along with 2 other women so that he could speed up the process of finding his perfect 3-way. I met this guy on a dating app and I feel like by all reasonable measures, he was pretty much just your average guy. Literally nothing in his profile could have prepared me for what was to come. We agreed to meet at this Italian restaurant that's about 15 minutes away from my house. So I show up in my Uber and I'm probably like 10 minutes early because I just usually show up early to things. I don't know. When I get there, he's standing outside the restaurant and I recognize him from his profile. So at least he's not a catfish. You know, we say hi to each other and then he's just like, okay, let's go inside and grab our table. He made a reservation, so the table was ready right when we got there. So at least that was nice. They bring us to our table and they seat us at this 4-top, which honestly isn't that weird if you think about it. We're really only sitting there for like maybe 2 minutes before this girl walks up, who I think at the time is just a waitress. But no, and you already know what's coming. She kind of just looks at me funny and then introduces herself just casually and I'm like, oh hi, like I'm Megan, and as she's sitting down, the next girl walks up. So all the girls are just introducing each other and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's just sitting there like completely fucking fine. And then she goes, oh, so like how do you know so-and-so? As in the guy. I'm just not gonna say his name because honestly, you know what? I should fucking say his name. Matthew. It was Matthew. And I'm like, oh, I actually don't really. This is our first date. So naturally my next question is, oh, well, how do you know Matthew? He looks me dead in the eyes and goes, I thought this was our first date. Yeah. I just thought that these other 2 girls were friends that he knew that were around. Maybe he invited. I don't know. People are weird. But no, he'd scheduled this date at the same time with all 3 of us to meet at this place. And why, you might ask? Well, you're probably not asking because I already told you he was trying to speed up his process of finding the perfect 3-way. We all left.
The classic Chad, that guy who doesn't bring anything special to the table but somehow always comes out on top. Honestly, I don't know what makes anyone think his style would work, but of course, Chads see the world differently than we average men. Even so, I bet that if he asked her out again with any silly excuse, she'd agree without hesitation because, well, it's Chad. Dating apps have become a real survival game, where only those who hit the genetic lottery, have deep pockets, or belong to that top 20% get all the results. I'm sure there were plenty of other guys who messaged her too, but she, humbly, chose the average guy. Yeah, right? And you have to admit, what this Chad pulls off is impressive. 3 women at the same time, all well-planned, quick, and hassle-free. He's the champion of the instant gratification era. And if he has more than enough women, why not do it? 3 dates in one night, because apparently, there's enough Chad to go around for everyone.
Hey, I feel like this needs to be said, and I'm gonna say it right now. Don't come for me. I don't give a fuck. I feel like you have bougie girls, and then you have ghetto girls, and then you have girls like me. That's just a mixture of both. Why the fuck do y'all treat us like a stepchild? The bougie girls think that we're too ghetto, and then they think we're too bougie, and then the bougie bitches be looking at us like, oh, they just want to be like us, so I'm gonna just sit right here and hang with her just because she's still kind of aesthetically pleasing. And then you got the ghetto girls that be like, that bitch be turned, she be lit, she always the one with the money, but she thinks she better than us, so we finna act weird all night. Why? I'm a growing girl. Like, yes, I like to shake my ass and get drunk and look in my face and scream Lord all day. But at the same time, I like sitting pretty. I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading. The fuck? I enjoy binge watching movies and just kicking it in a crib. I enjoy brunches and just ding, 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 all that. And then by the nighttime, I'm right there like, period. Period. What's wrong with that? Why y'all gotta make us seem like we're the weird ones? Because we know who we are. We know what we grew from, and we know what we going to. What y'all not about to do is make me feel bad because y'all are afraid of change. Y'all think growing is being fake. She's being fake, sitting right there constantly getting her nails done, getting her hair done, doing all this. That's fake. Real is just being how we was when we was little and not doing shit else but that. Who? Bitch, you got me fucked up. And then these hoes wanna, I can never act like that. I can't never, if I wanna shake my ass, I'm gonna shake my ass, boo. Like, I don't get no fuck. Like, y'all be really having me messed up. Like, yes, I am from Chicago. Everybody who on my TikTok know I'm from Chicago, and they know the way y'all see me on the internet is dead ass how I am in real life. And I don't judge people. I let ghetto bitches be ghetto bitches, and I be right there behind them. And I let my bougie bitches be pretty. I be right there with them until I want to be ghetto. And I'm going to do both when and whenever I want to. I'm a nice ass person. I don't like bullies. I don't like seeing a girl getting embarrassed because I'm going to be that girl that ghetto said. I'm going to check a bitch for her. Okay? Like, it's really levels to me. I'm a good-hearted person. I walk around, like, literally open to any and everybody. I'm very diverse. I don't give a fuck how anybody dress or they aesthetic when they hanging with me. It's never an issue, bitch. Come as you are, because I am, and we going to have a motherfucking ball. Oh, y'all, like, really be misjudging us, and I hate that for y'all. Because we really the real-ass bitches if you really want to get technical. Let's talk about it. So what's the problem? Boo? Hating ass bitches. Y'all mad. Real mad.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
They say a woman's worst enemy is another woman. And let's be honest, you'd think they would be the most supportive, always backing each other up like one big sisterhood. But in real life, there's nothing more lethal than a woman facing another when things get tense. No one knows how to throw those cutting remarks better than they do. Unless, of course, it's about banding together to make laws that complicate men's lives. In that case, they're all in perfect sync. And if you've ever worked in a female-dominated environment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. An office full of women can be a minefield, especially if the balance between those considered attractive and those not so much is off. Brother, the tension you feel there is like nowhere else. Let those who've been bosses in those places confirm it in the comments. Women don't have friends. They have competition. Wherever there's a large group of women, you'll always find those defamatory remarks disguised as innocent gossip. And don't just take my word for it. Just watch their looks and expressions when someone they don't like walks by. Hypocrisy is the order of the day. They smile at you and swear eternal love, but behind your back, they don't hesitate to throw out those nasty comments. It's no wonder they say a woman's worst enemy is another woman.
Let's talk about the new Bumble ad campaign and these billboards that went up recently. A vow of celibacy is not the answer. You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Thou shalt not give up on dating to become a nun. Bumble has been teasing a rebrand for a while, saying that dating needs a wake-up call. They've been using historic images of women who are exhausted from the dating scene, and then this is what they rolled out. What we know about this, number one, is women have raised their standards and it's working. These ads are so desperate. They're giving major pick-me energy and major where's my hug energy. Something to keep in mind is that women are the product when it comes to dating apps. Dating apps are here to make money. They are not nonprofit organizations, and the product that they are selling are people. Think about it. If dating apps really wanted you to find a long-term, healthy, happy, amazing relationship, even marriage, then why do so many of them have multiple month memberships that you can buy, year-long annual memberships that you can buy, or even Bumble has a lifetime membership that you can get? So if they really cared about you finding a great relationship, why do they have all those payment options? And nearly all dating apps have different tiers that if you pay money, you will get shown to more qualified matches, to better matches, more compatible matches. Because bottom line is they're here to make money off of you. When Bumble first came out, it was unique in that it positioned itself as female friendly or women friendly, because once a match happened, women were the ones who had the opportunity to initiate a conversation and send the first message. Now, back when I was using dating apps, I actually didn't like Bumble for this specific reason, because it puts men in their feminine energy. It puts men in their princess energy, with women needing to be the initiators.
She has a point, but the problem is that women almost never paid. It was always the men who kept the app afloat. Bumble focused on attracting women, and now they're paying the price because when the money has to come out of their pockets, the picture changes. Most men don't get spectacular results, and only a small 20% really stands out, but those guys don't even bother to pay. Their genetics guarantee their victories. Ah, Bumble, what a curious game you play. They sell us the idea that women are raising their standards and that everything is working. But the reality seems more like a desperate strategy to push premium memberships. If they really wanted everyone to find true love, they wouldn't be offering those endless subscriptions. It's like they're saying, well, we didn't find love for you, but for a monthly fee, you can keep trying forever.
With the recent rebrand, they've also changed it so that men can send the first message. Because clearly, women aren't being as active on dating apps. Women aren't initiating as much. Women are just tired and fed up with the bare minimum effort. And so the apps are needing to do things to drive more engagement. This is yet another indication of how desperate they are. They've changed the one thing that differentiated them. Personally, I think this is a good move overall, just from my past preferences with using dating apps. However, it just, again, shows how desperately they need to breathe new life into this app because clearly they're struggling. There has been a huge rise in women practicing celibacy. The 4B movement from Korea has gotten some traction here in the United States, and women are just tired of settling for poor treatment and bare minimum effort from men when it comes to dating and relationships. Women have significantly raised their standards, many are practicing celibacy, and some have even decided to stop dating altogether. And these ads are completely gaslighting and shaming women for choosing themselves. Women are unhappy with the state of dating, and rather than address women's valid concerns, these ads are basically saying, nah girl, shh. Women are saying, no, we won't stand for XYZ anymore. And these ads are basically saying, nah, you know you want it. Stop it, girl. You're being silly. One of them literally has a woman's mouth covered. Interesting, huh? Women are saying no, and these ads are saying, nah, you don't really mean that. What does that sound like? And interesting how this campaign is targeting women and not addressing men at all. Bumble is supposed to be a women-friendly dating app, and these ads are literally telling women how to date and what to do with their bodies. They used to be about women making the first move, and now they're basically telling women what moves to make. Women are choosing celibacy and choosing to be single for a reason. Men don't generally choose those things. These ads were also done by their in-house ad team, and they are clearly written by a man or written by men. Like, I wonder if any women were even involved in the process of these. And likely they were, which kind of makes it even worse, right? Many people had to approve of these ads before they became massive billboards. And even though these ads are targeting women and essentially speaking to women, they're actually for men because these are the frustrations of men. These are not speaking to the frustrations of women. This kind of stuff is what men are complaining about. This is what men want to hear, but it's being directed at women. I saw another creator call this the Just Fuck Him ad campaign because basically that's what it's saying. Oh, you want too much. You need to settle. Your standards are too high. Just fuck him. Just fuck him already. And newsflash, you can be celibate and still.
Okay.
One thing I've learned about women is that you don't always have to listen to what they say. You have to watch what they do. They wanted a dating app where they had all the control, it was created, and now it's in crisis. They wanted women-only gyms, and nowadays, many of them have closed. It seems like they say one thing, but in practice, they do the opposite. The reality is that Bumble is doing a full 360-degree turn now that they've realized that it's men who pay, while women are becoming more demanding. What happened? They figured out that there are way more average men than those few high-value men they're looking for. And of course, the guy always pays for the dates, even though they talk about making the minimum effort, but expect a 5-star restaurant just to get to know each other, not just to fill up their Instagram with pictures. And when the bill arrives, forget about splitting the costs. Even the app itself has realized that trying to please a woman is almost an impossible mission. The most ironic part of it all is that the company's CEO is a woman, the very person approving all these strategies.
Date. So, Bumble, are you saying that if we match with somebody on Bumble and we go on a date with them, then we are expected to have sex with them? Is that what you're saying here? And if celibacy is not the answer, then what is? Settling, lowering our standards, just hooking up with lame ass guys? Like, what's the answer then? Women raising their standards and choosing celibacy and choosing themselves is women choosing accountability for themselves and for all women. Because when we stop settling for treatment and behavior that we do not want, the behavior will change. We're literally seeing that happen in real time. Speaking of accountability, women are complicit, not to blame. Hear me clearly in that. Women are complicit in the poor treatment of women when it comes to dating. Women are complicit in receiving the bare minimum effort from men when it comes to dating and relationships because many women allow it. If bare minimum treatment and lame behavior didn't work at least sometimes, then men would change their approach because it wouldn't work. It still happens because it still works. So by women putting their foot down, saying no to bare minimum effort, saying no to poor treatment, saying no to bad behavior, that is forcing behavior to change. It's saying level up or leave me alone. Level up or don't even bother speaking to me. Women are taking accountability by no longer settling for and no longer entertaining behavior and treatment that we don't actually want. And it's working. And when we do this, it benefits all women. So, what do you do now? Number one, delete your dating apps. And don't just pause it or delete it off of your phone. Delete your actual account, your actual profile. Remove yourself from their database. Because sometimes if you just pause or just delete it off of your phone, your cute little face and your cute little profile can still be floating around in the app for them to profit off of. And next, continue to raise your standards, continue to maintain your boundaries, continue to pour into yourself, and continue to live a life that you truly enjoy and that truly makes you happy. Because the biggest threat to dating apps and the biggest threat to bare minimum effort when it comes to dating are elevated, boundaried, happy single women.
They say misery loves company, and it seems that applies to single women with cats, always happy and fulfilled. The irony is that Bumble was created because women complained about Tinder, saying that men held all the power there. But of course, many were bothered by the simple effort of sending a message, even that seemed like too much to ask. That's why Bumble had to shift its focus. They realized that, beyond impulsive purchases, women aren't the most profitable audience. The real customers are men, because we're the ones who spend more time on these apps and struggle with fewer options, especially if you're just an average guy. But even though the app gives them all the tools, it seems like many women aren't satisfied, and it's not because they lack suitors. Trust me, they've got hundreds waiting. The problem is that they aren't getting that 20% guy who meets their high standards. These days, it seems like everyone thinks they deserve a man from that top 20%, even if they don't have much to offer in return. If the attention they get from men on these apps were so bad, wouldn't it be easier just to stop using them? The sarcasm serves itself. The apps are the perfect excuse, but the real problem is the standards and expectations that are out of this world, and no one has told them that life doesn't work that way. Welcome to The Wall. Today, we bring you a story of regret. It turns out we have a woman who, 3 years after signing the divorce papers, is realizing that single life wasn't as fun as she thought, especially now that she's alone and things get tricky at 38. And to make matters worse, another one says that being in casual relationships is like putting life on pause. A lot of energy spent with no real results. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Show some love to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, Let's get started.
This is a message for the ladies and for some men, I'm sure. If you find yourself often or currently in a low-key situationship, I'm here to tell you right now, that person does not want to be with you. That person wants to use you. You see, a situationship is like proximity. Once that situation changes, so does your relationship to that person. I can't even tell you the amount of times that I have come across women who are crying over men, and I'm like, are you guys, how long have you guys been together? And they're like, we've been in a situationship. I'm like for how long? Like a couple months? 3 years. 3 years? You gave somebody 3 years of your life that doesn't even want to commit to you or even like care about how you feel about a situation? No. No. And look, I am all for two consenting adults that just want to have fun, as long as they are both on the same page, and normally they're not even in the same book, bitch. I just don't think that I will ever get to that degree of loneliness where I will allow myself to be unhappy in a situation with somebody that I like and then pretend that I don't like them as much as I do just to appease the other person. I don't feel like low-key relationships are healthy. But if it works for you, I love it. But it's not working, babe. I think in 2024, we've got to do better. We got to do way better.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Why is it that whenever we talk about a relationship with a woman, it seems like the ultimate goal has to be marriage? Come on, we're in the 21st century. Everything evolves, except the idea that if a relationship is serious, you have to sign that darn piece of paper. The truth is, if we're living together or in a solid relationship, what really changes? What I offer you in that relationship is the same as you'd have in marriage, just without the paperwork and legal complications. And here's the second thing. Why does it always seem like a woman's time is more valuable than a man's? As if the 3 years he put into the relationship don't count. It's like she thinks, my time is worth more because I'm on the wall, waiting, analyzing, while the guy is just as invested in the relationship. Let's not kid ourselves. There are plenty of women who do seek a genuine relationship with a man, without that pressure to sign a contract that, let's be honest, often ends up hurting the man. Times have changed, and it's time for these outdated ideas to change too.
So I had a realization today. I've been divorced for 3.5 years, and I went through 1.5 years of counseling after my marriage broke up, and I've dated on and off in that 3.5 years. I don't have any kids, so it was a clean break in my divorce. I'm a church worker. I'm a strong Christian, and I try to live by Christian values when dating. I'm also a woman of the real world and understand, when dating, what it's like to date out in the real world. And it is so hard. It is so hard to find someone who is looking for someone of value, who's not wanting to sleep with someone right away, and who's not wanting to, change their morals because they are a single woman. I just can't understand why it's hard out here for us good women. I don't understand. I'm looking for a good man. It's not like I'm out here, looking to change people or anything like that. It's, I've done the work on myself. Last year I went through a huge weight loss journey, and a guy that I dated last month, I went out with him twice, and both times he was like, you don't look like your photos. Your photos look like you were a lot thinner than what you were in person. Like, what? Are we doing this? Are we really doing that?
Look, what do you expect him to say if you don't look like your photos? The guy's not lying. He's just seeing the reality. Plus, let's be honest, the whole good woman thing gets complicated if you got divorced while being Christian, because as far as I know, those folks don't usually just let things go like that. Now, here's something interesting. It seems like when she got into the marriage, she stopped making an effort. Maybe in her dating app photos, she was at her best. But once she was married, she relaxed and stopped caring about her appearance because she thought she had it all locked down. And sure enough, when the husband noticed, he left. Now she's complaining that men don't find her attractive. But well, let's keep moving forward.
I don't know why this is hard. I went out for the girlfriend tonight and we were talking about like, okay, well, what is it that I need to work on? Because obviously there's something wrong with me because I'm not able to figure out how to be in a healthy, good relationship. And she was like, Emily, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't understand why you think it's you. Like, why you always have to change you. And I'm like, I'm the common denominator, right? Like, I'm the one who's not been able to date someone and be in a relationship. And she's like, what if it's not the right time? And I was like, but why would God wait this long? I'm 38. It's not like this has been an easy journey for me of being pregnant. I had 3 miscarriages in my first marriage. My time clock is ticking. I've been in youth ministry for 16 years working with teenagers. I'd love to be a mom. Why is this hard? She's like, what if it's not you? What if it's just not the right time? And that's really hard to accept because I'd like to fix something. I'm a fixer. If I can fix it. Do I need to lose some more weight? Do I need to be on a different dating app? Do I need to change something about me? And I hate that answer, that maybe it's not the right time, but maybe it's not the right time. That's really hard to kind of accept. It's really hard. And where are all the good men? Why aren't you looking for good women who are ready to be in a relationship and not sleep around? What are you doing? Where are you? The journey is hard.
To this type of woman, I'd say, instead of waiting around for Prince Charming on his white horse, why not go out and look for him yourself and bet on the potential of a good man? Because, let's be honest, even the way you look now, there are probably men interested, but you have to learn to live within your means, right? If you're not exactly the most attractive woman in the world, why not go for an average guy? Also, I always wonder, why put so much effort into finding someone new when it might have been easier to put some real effort into the relationship you already had? Maybe it would have been better to work on being a better partner instead of spending thousands of dollars on therapy to heal for someone who might not even show up. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Maybe you already had a good garden, you just needed to water it a bit better.
So the reason I've had to turn off my comments in my previous TikTok is the disgusting comments are just so unnecessary. And what's really interesting is it's all men. It's all men giving their opinion about how women should never leave a marriage and that they should stay for the kids. And it's giving bitter, narcissistic men who have had women leave them because maybe they didn't like being mistreated. Why should anyone stay in a marriage, kids or not, if you're not treated well? It baffles me. So sorry if you guys are annoyed I've turned the comments off and now you're commenting on other TikToks. Thank you so much for upping my engagement. It's really lovely of you. Don't care about your opinion. And yeah, thanks for watching my stuff.
Oh my God!
The truth hurts, but let's get straight to the point. The problem is you're looking for compassion and sympathy, but men don't just hand those out easily. With this epidemic of divorces and an 80% rate of separations initiated by women, if you expect them to take your side for ruining your own family, it's time to wake up from that dream. The reality is that many men are fed up with seeing how some women play the victim and blame others to avoid taking responsibility, because, let's be honest, responsibility is like kryptonite for them. And then, you turn off the comments because you can't handle the reality. Men are simply reminding you that the excuses like, "He left me because I wasn't treated well," are just stories to justify a lack of commitment. So, it's better to face it, because the truth always finds a way to come to light. The wall doesn't forgive, gentlemen. What's going on with these women who use their divorce as content on TikTok, going on and on about their personal lives and painting the ex as the villain? If they were truly going through a tough time, they wouldn't be turning it into a profitable business. In the end, what they're doing is profiting off the suffering of that man who, according to them, only wasted his valuable time. And, of course, no one shows sympathy for that anymore because it's become clear that, for some, marriage is more of a transaction than a real relationship. Nowadays, marriage seems like a business where the man dives in headfirst for love, and the woman reaps the benefits. And yes, let me say it plainly. Only a man deeply in love would sign a paper knowing there's a 70% chance that everything will fall apart. So, let's not be naive, gentlemen. It's time to wake up and see things for what they really are.
So what was the Great Depression like?
It was fine.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see several women criticizing feminism, as well as many of them saying that this movement has lost its meaning. We'll also hear from other women who claim that today's men are not real men, that we have no feelings. I want you to smash that like button and join the channel by subscribing. Add a bit of your love to the movement. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Share your experiences in the comments to guide other men. Without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so this is how backwards modern feminism is. Modern feminism is undeniably anti-men, yet at the core, now you have to critically think here, men have never had easier access to a woman's body and her sacred energy. She's wearing almost little to nothing. She's sleeping with any man that looks her way, and she's taking her clothes off wherever the fuck she wants at any given time. This is all being disguised as female empowerment. But what modern women cannot comprehend is that men are not losing here. This is a win-win for men. You have your independence, and now he doesn't have to do anything to win you over. He doesn't have to plan any dates. He doesn't have to put in any effort. He doesn't have to do anything because you're exposing yourself freely in the name of equal opportunity. Please let that sink in. At the end of the day, this whole movement of my body, my choice, I can have sex with 50,000 guys because men can do the same thing, is just a justification for why her standards are so low. Like, modern women have the lowest standards. They don't even exist. And her reasoning for that is because I'm feeling empowered. You know, here we go, fight justice. Girl, no, just say that your standards are really low.
I don't know if you've heard the saying, a key that opens many locks is a master key. But a lock that opens with many keys is useless. It's completely logical in this sense, because what a man values most is a woman who maintains her reputation. Women want to fight for equality, and I believe they've achieved some of that, but what modern women today practice is libertinism. Let's be honest, this doesn't really cause any problems for us men if we just want to have fun. What bothers many women is that afterward, you don't want a commitment with them. The reality is that no man, at least that I know of, wants to be with a woman who has given all her love to the masses. They call this machismo, they compare themselves to us, but the truth is that even they criticize each other. Men honestly don't care what you do with your body. What bothers us is that you live your life, your right to live in libertinism, and then expect a man to offer you a ring, to secure you a long-term financial life, simply because you're an empowered woman. Give me a break.
The only thing a man wants from you is access to your body.
Well, that's a rather dismal outlook, but it does kind of let a person know what types of men some individuals tend to interact with.
You cannot believe how many men have asked me this question. What do women really want?
And that's a very good question. I wonder what the answer is.
They're confused by emotional intimacy and true connection.
Ooh, tell us more what one really thinks about men.
They are wild animals. They wake up and they say, let's go find somebody to date. Dating is about finding an F partner.
Probably shouldn't be painting all men with the same brush, but In case one wasn't aware, usually physical intimacy is part eventually of being in a relationship.
I'm starting to believe that men are literally lower conscious. Like they've never felt love before in their life and they don't know how to. All they know is physical pleasures, which they cannot control.
I'm really beginning to think that some women that make these types of statements are actually just demonstrating projection.
Totally. Many of these women are just projecting their own attitudes. And the worst part is when this comes from someone who, in another video, says she doesn't accept coffee dates and that, from the first week, the man has to pay all her bills. They talk about not being emotional when, in reality, their priorities seem pretty materialistic. But of course, since we're men, the blame always falls on us, right? Look, let's be clear. If you present yourself as a product, you can't be surprised if someone treats you like one. If what you're looking for is for a man to invest his money in you, it's logical to expect some reciprocity in the relationship. But no, it seems like the expectation is for men to act like simps, spending their money just for the pleasure of listening to you talk. You present yourself as the victim of men's instincts when, in reality, you seem to offer nothing beyond the superficial. A true emotional connection goes beyond the material. It's about offering something of value, something you apparently don't know how to provide.
Okay, here is why more and more young women are rejecting feminism and just do not want to be associated with it at all. I think these younger generations have really, really good BS detectors. So on its face, feminism sounds great, right? Equality for all and girls supporting girls. That sounds so beautiful. But the second you kind of test that out, you very quickly find that it has just become a total facade. If I'm putting on makeup for my husband to come home from work, or if I'm cooking for him, they get upset. They don't like that. Whoever the head of PR is for feminism needs to be fired. They are doing a horrible job because almost all of their representatives who are outspoken, they just seem so miserable, so hateful, so bitter. It doesn't look fun at all. Nothing about that sounds appealing. I think that's why we're starting to see the trad wife stuff on TikTok, is because people are so sick of the other side, so done with the angry, man-hating, putting women down. Ugh, it's boring, it's old, we're done with it. You don't have to like me, you don't have to like other women on social media, you can call everybody names and be upset, but just don't pretend that you support other women, because you don't, and a lot of people are seeing right through it.
I'm being realistic when I say that the purple-haired movement had its moment of glory because, at its origin, it had a clear purpose. But what we see today seems like a shadow of what it once was, more focused on attacking men than on its original values. And if you notice, it's only leading more women to feel unhappy and alone, hitting the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive. The most interesting thing is that they don't look at who's really behind these movements. Big companies, especially those in cosmetics, supermarkets, and pharmaceuticals. And why the wall? Because women are the biggest consumers of these products. Think about it. If you're a woman focused solely on your career, you need to fill the gap that family leaves with something. And often that something is mindless shopping, traveling, or spending on branded clothes. And when they hit their 30s or older, they turn to cosmetic treatments to stay competitive. It's no coincidence that millions of dollars are invested in campaigns where celebrities sell you this idea, brainwashing young women, telling them that this is the path to follow, even if it goes against their own desires to start a family or be mothers. Because, of course, in that aspect, there's no business to be made. At the end of the day, the system benefits more if you keep trying to fill that void with material things.
A lot of men don't romantically love or like women, they just like being physically intimate with women, but their love and respect is always reserved for other men.
What an interesting statement. And precisely what type of conclusion is that supposed to lead to?
To call these men heterosexual is a joke.
Hardly, but I do think I know what the joke here actually is.
Saying these men are straight is absolutely a lie. The people they respect and admire are other men.
I wonder if they're aware that respecting and admiring someone is not the same thing as being physically attracted to them.
They're trying to improve their lives is for other men, such as going to the gym, making more money, or even dating an attractive woman. They do it to get respect from other men. They want that admiration and love from other men, and it's very homoerotic.
Really?
They want respect, admiration, and what is essentially love. From women, they want submission, intimacy, and a baby.
Ah, there it is.
Is that love to you? Is that a man who likes women? Just because a man engages in physical activity and physical relationships with a woman doesn't mean he likes women or wants a romantic relationship with them. A lot of these men are in denial and they're closeted.
And just because a person talks a lot about a certain subject matter doesn't mean they actually know a thing about it.
A man who strives to be in that top 20% is a man who clearly earns the respect of others, because we all know that to get on a luxury yacht surrounded by women, that guy had to work hard and bring a lot to the table. Meanwhile, the women in that situation are often only required to have a good physique, nothing more. Now, saying that these men don't like women just because they seek intimacy or enjoy that privileged position sounds more like bitterness. Maybe they used you and then let you go, and that's where the frustration kicks in. The reality is that these men are in high demand because, to be honest, many women tend to look for the best available man according to their hypergamous nature. That's why many women are advised to bet on a young guy with potential, the one who's in college striving to go far. Because the truth is, when a man reaches the top, he rarely leaves the woman who stood by him through the whole process. But if he reaches the top single and with money, do you really think he's going to choose you just because you're pretty? When there are plenty of other women just as attractive looking for the same thing, you have to offer more than just a pretty face. And in this case, it seems like she doesn't have much more to offer.
The role of the masculine man is intensified when he first becomes a father. This is when he really needs to step up. And this is like his role of the masculine man is on steroids, if you like. Think of it if you compare it to the role of a lion in the lion's pride. He oversees now not just the pride or the lands, if you like, but he oversees now his wife as well and his children. So he needs to adjust and really up his level of providing and protecting, particularly in those first few months to a year. Now, this can be tricky to navigate for men, particularly if a conversation is not had between him and his wife to discuss what the dynamics will look like in those first few months to a year. Women often will step into the role of mother fairly easy. I'm not going to say easy, but relatively easy because they've had 9 months to grow the baby, 9 months of their body changing, 9 months of really getting accustomed of what it feels like to have another person already to care for. And while the man is a part of those, 9 months of being pregnant, he is looking on. He is not actually having any bodily changes, if you like, happen during that time of pregnancy. And it is important when you first become parents to get the dynamics in the relationship between the masculine and the feminine right, because this is where if it's not right at the time, it will often begin to crumble. And we see this happen so often that in the first year to two of becoming parents, families often split up and divorce happens. Now, often the woman will step into the masculine and become more controlling of the household, of, the children, and take more of that role on. And the man will often step back and take more of an onlooker's role. Again, this is not always, but it is quite common that you see that has happened in the past. Now, when this happens, things in the relationship itself between the man and woman or the two people will begin to crumble because there's no polarity there anymore and there will be no sexual chemistry. So really, it's the opposite that needs to happen. The man needs to step up and take more of the role of providing and protecting and on-looking, if you like, over the family, leadership over the family, while the woman is able to relax and become more of the nurturer and do, the caring of the children solely and specifically.
This sounds great on paper, but in reality, it's different. When a man is the main provider for his household, he carries a huge burden. He has to work long hours, which often keeps him away from home, while the woman spends more time at home. Plus, nowadays, a man is expected to do it all, provide, help with household chores, take care of the kids, and always be present. But when he tries to lead or set boundaries, that often ends in divorce, leaving him without his family, without money, and without his kids. And the worst part is that many men who always wanted to be active fathers find themselves out of their children's lives. Because for some women, it seems easier to opt for child support than to fight for a united family. This is one of the reasons why we see so many American families falling apart and more kids living in poverty, because their mother prioritizes her own happiness over the well-being of her family. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about modern women who are leaving feminism? What do you believe is the main reason why American families struggle to stay together in marriage? If you enjoyed the video, Make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.